Okay, thank you so much. So I would just like to go through a few slides before we commence the session, just to make sure that we are all on the same page for today's webinar. And as you can see on my screen, we have the topic, what we're looking at today. You have delayed queries, frustration, or you have frequent downtime when it has to do with your database. It does not have to be that way. And we're going to be sharing a lot of insights today on how we can make 2025 the year of faster queries, reduce downtime, and proactive database monitoring. And just before then, I would like to take us through some housekeeping rules for today. My name is Ha-Shem, and I'm the team lead here for marketing at Ha-Shem Limited. I have a strong background in content and digital marketing strategy, brand visibility, product growth, and also customer engagement. And beyond marketing, I'm also a brand identity specialist. And beyond the corporate space, I'm a passionate advocate for child empowerment. And today we have two speakers who are with us. We have Visar Stublla, and we also have Richard Burke, who are both working with SolarWinds. We have the account executive at SolarWinds and also a senior sales engineer at SolarWinds. Visar is an account executive with specialty in database portfolio, and for over 7 years now, he has driven ROI by helping companies, to choose the right solutions that help them to optimize their KPIs, that helps them to meet their SLAs and also reduce staff and customer turnover. And for Richard, he is a senior solutions engineer with SolarWinds and is responsible for the database performance monitoring products there. He joined in 2020 with SentryOne as a technical specialist. Then he later joined the solutions engineering team to focus on our primary database product, which is the DPA, DPM, and SQL Sentry. So today, for some people on the call, this is the first time you are getting to know about Ha-Shem Limited. And trust me, Ha-Shem Limited has been a trusted IT solutions provider for over 20 years. And we have been doing this, assisting businesses with overcoming their IT challenges with success. And aside from this, we've also been able to design solutions that enhance business productivity and efficiency. We have experts in-house when it comes to IT solutions. We specialize in identifying and addressing the evolving needs of organizations, ensuring that we have solutions that can cater to their budget, tailored solutions that can help them to optimize workflow effectiveness within their organizations. And today's topic says, from downtime to peak performance, why your business needs database monitoring. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great session. And please ensure that the session is very engaging. Ensure to ask your questions. Bring your questions. We have experts on ground to answer them. And to ensure that we have sanity across the house, we have some housekeeping rules. Please ensure that your mics are muted. To ensure that we have a smooth session, mute your mics unless when you have to speak. Also, please use the chat box as well. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. Our team are actively available to monitor and respond to your chats. Also, please ensure to react, comment, and also participate. We're going to have some polls, to make the session very, very interactive. And also, we are going to be having a Q&A session where you get to ask a question. So please get your questions ready, bring them on board, and we're ready to answer everything. Also, we are also saying please ensure that we don't have unauthorized recordings, because this webinar currently is being recorded, and we'll ensure that everybody that has joined this call today gets a piece of that recording through their emails. For you to be able to have the best experience, please make sure you have a good internet connection. If you're joining through your mobile or your desktop, make sure you have a good internet connection. And lastly, keep the conversation going. Even after this webinar, engage us on LinkedIn, ask your questions, reshare the event post, and let's get to it together. So at this point, I'm going to be handing over to one of our speakers who is going to launch the session for today before he hands over to the other person. Visar, it's all over to you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Super. Thank you for the introduction. Can everybody hear me?
Absolutely, I can hear you.
Super. I'm just going to share my screen, so let me know if and when you guys can all see this.
Yep. Yeah, I can.
Perfect. So look, first and foremost, again, I want to give a big kudos and a big shout out to our amazing partner Ha-Shem. who you guys will know locally. And just want to give a big thanks for the efforts in promoting this webinar. It's a great webinar and a great opportunity for everybody who's attended here to learn a little bit more about the importance of database performance monitoring. And feel free to ask any questions in the chat during or after, as well as, of course, approaching Ha-Shem, who is our strategic local partner for you guys locally. So we'll go straight into it. The little introduction was already there, so I won't take too much time with that. My name is Visar. I'm the database specialist here for SolarWinds across all of Africa when it comes to our database portfolio, which is one of our key products and one of our top 2 most used solutions. And you'll see throughout the presentation today, as well as the demo, why that is, why we've got so many trusted customers all over Africa, as well as Nigeria, from Central Bank of Nigeria, Dangote, and plenty others that use this solution. So today's webinar, guys, is an aim to give you a bit of understanding of your performance monitoring and the importance of being able to kind of identify any pain points you guys might have or might relate to when it comes to database and database performance. So the webinar, as already mentioned, from downtime to peak performance, why your business needs database monitoring. We speak to a lot of customers every day who have their own database admin, or maybe they don't, and they've got their own guy doing jobs from A to Z, and there's always these shortfallings and gaps. So today we're going to try and address some of these. So the partnership introduction is already done. We're going to talk about why monitoring the performance of your database is important and sometimes even business critical. We're going to talk about some of the typical challenges that people face today that you might be able to relate to as well. And we're going to talk about how a database performance monitor can actually help your business, as well as show you a technical demo of the solution. So before we get into that, for anybody who is not familiar with SolarWinds, just to give you 1 or 2 quick slides on that. So SolarWinds is a software company that's been in existence now for over 25 years. We've got over 300,000 customers globally that trust our solutions. We've got over 1,600 partners globally. So everything is channel first again, which is why we have this sync with Ha-Shem. Multiple locations worldwide, multiple awards in terms of security within our software, and so on. But just to give you a little bit of context, we are around for quite a long time. So I'm assuming most of you will be familiar. You might have used us before, use us currently, or heard of our name. But when it comes to what we offer, guys, we offer, and we believe that here at SolarWinds, we like to offer a complete picture of your IT environment, right? Closely coupled with service management that helps deliver best outcomes for our customers. So when we say this, what we mean is we offer an end-to-end unified solution that will help you manage and monitor both your environments in terms of observability as well as your IT service management. So that's everything from your networks, your infrastructure, your databases, which is the topic of today, applications, and so on and so forth. So if anybody here, again, is looking to kind of eliminate problems that you might have within your IT environment, and you want something that is more end-to-end view, you want or wish to have a standardized on a common vendor, so you don't have multiple tool sprawls, or maybe you want to, optimize your resources and costs and focus on the most important problems and have something in one place, SolarWinds can offer that. So do feel free to reach out to Ha-Shem or to us if you have any other kind of interesting points from your angle, from networking or infrastructure and so on. But today we will be talking about database, and we're going to start off with just kind of highlighting some of the common problems that I see and we speak to every day when it comes to our customer base or new customers and so on. And I'm hoping that some of these will resonate with you. And we just want to paint a picture of these are the common problems that we see. And when we're speaking to customers, sometimes they don't even realize that this is actually coming from the lack of database observability or database performance monitoring. So starting off with the financial impact. So we all know downtime or slow performance causes a big point or a big pain point for most organizations. So estimating the precise cost of downtime can actually be quite challenging. Now, there are some reputable organizations such as Gartner, which you guys should be familiar with, and they have conducted an extensive research into this area, and they have provided some valuable insights. So according to Gartner's findings, the average cost of IT downtime is estimated to be around $5,600 per minute. Now, while some of these figures serve as a kind of a benchmark, they do vary depending on the company's size or the nature of that company. But what we do know is, downtime or slow applications equals loss of money, revenue, customer retention, employee retention, and so on. So Just to add to here, what I know and what I see every day when I speak to customers is that downtime and slow database performance leads to loss of revenue, increased operational costs, and wasted resources as teams are always scrambling around to try and resolve these issues, while poor user experience can also be impacted, right? So that impacts your customer retention. So when you're looking at the downtime and the slow database performance, not only do they lead to immediate loss of revenue and operation insufficiency, but they also cost missed sales opportunities, or they might impact in terms of penalties for SLA breaches, or even increase IT costs due to always firefighting. The ripple effect of poor database performance can damage customer trust, increase churn, or put a strain on your IT budget by requiring more resources to address recurring issues instead of focusing on innovation. So just to give you a bit of context of what I mean by these things, so like how or what actually happens here, how can this be related to a database? So if we look at loss of revenue, when systems are down or they're performing poorly, customer-facing applications such as e-commerce websites or online services, mobile banking, they become unavailable or they're slow, which leads to abandonment transactions and missed sales opportunities. We see this all the time. Operational insufficiencies, again, IT teams must spend significant time diagnosing and fixing issues rather than working on strategic initiatives or driving labor costs and slowing innovation. Customer churn, what do you mean by customer churn? How is database being down or being slow causing customer churn? Again, poor performance directly impacts user experience. Customers frustrated by slow applications are more likely to leave for competitors, reducing long-term revenue potential. We see a lot of this as well in the financial sector when customers are relying on those applications or those banking applications to work well, and if they don't, customers don't typically like that. Again, this leads to reputational damage. Downtime can erode trust in your brand, right? Customers and partners may perceive your organization as unreliable, which makes it harder to win new business or retain existing clients. Again, this is all due to a lack of database optimization, because all and most mission critical applications rely on a database, whether that's for your staff to do their job, or whether that's for your customer support team, or whether that's for your external customers to be able to use those applications or websites that you provide. That's one of the main problems we do see, and we speak to customers about it every day. Another one is performance bottlenecks. Well, let's dive into the common causes of bottlenecks in the system, right? So bottlenecks can emerge due to several factors, including resource contention, insufficient SQL queries, hardware limitations, and network latencies. These issues can collectively create a bottleneck that hinders system performance, right? The impact of bottlenecks, though, is significant. When bottlenecks occur, they often result in sluggish system performances. They can lead to decreased user satisfaction, reduced productivity among your own team or customers, and in some cases, potential revenue loss by insufficient operations or transactions getting delayed, right? So again, I'm sure most of you on here who work with databases can relate to this. But if we explore how to identify bottlenecks within your system, right? Detecting bottlenecks is a crucial step in addressing them efficiently. You can employ various methods such as monitoring tools that provide real-time insights, ranging from query analytics, resource utilization, and so on. And once you've actually identified that bottleneck, it's essential that you have a strategy for mitigation. There are several approaches to addressing bottlenecks. This can include insufficient queries to improve database performance, scaling up or out to allocate more resources, implementing caching mechanisms to reduce the load on the servers, and load balancing to distribute traffic evenly across multiple servers. But the biggest thing I see here every time I'm speaking to a customer is the lack of proactive bottleneck management. So typically, if you are being reactive, it's almost too late. The damage has already been done, whether that's to your internal staff and internal employees and them doing their job efficiently, or the impact it has on your external business from a customer's perspective or revenue perspective. So again, we do see this to be a big challenge when it comes to database performance, and constant troubleshooting and firefighting doesn't help. Another one that we see come up a lot, guys, is scalability. So without database performance monitoring, scalability becomes a major challenge as undetected bottlenecks limit system capacity, which lead to performance degradation, increased cost of over-provisioning resources, and difficulties in supporting business growth or surges in demand, right? So if we look at scalability problems, they arise when a system struggles to efficiently handle increased workloads. This means that as your application or service grows, it may not be able to keep up with the demands efficiently. These challenges can cause a range of issues, such as including performance problems, increased operational costs, limitations on your organization's growth capacity, and so on, right? And these can also hinder the ability to meet customer expectations or adapt to changing market demands, because if you can't scale with how the business is looking to scale or needs to scale, that impacts everything else. So what's really important to understand with scalability is what are some of the common causes of scalability problems. So that's like insufficient code, hardware limitation, and poor database optimization are often at the root of these issues. So being able to identify the underlying factor is actually critical to finding an effective solution. So detecting scalability issues can be achieved through various means, right, including monitoring system performance, conducting thorough testing, analyzing system behavior under different workloads, gathering user feedback. But the sooner you can detect these challenges, the quicker you can actually take action to correct them. And when it comes to addressing scalability problems, there are several strategies that you can use, right? So that includes horizontal or vertical scaling to allocate more resources, implementing load balancing to distribute traffic evenly, leveraging cloud services for elasticity. And again, these strategies enhance your system's ability to handle these increased workloads. And the benefit behind solving scalability problems are really substantial, because by addressing these issues, you can achieve better overall performance, you can enhance your user experience, you can realize cost savings through optimized resource utilization and positioning your organization for future growth, right? Now, in conclusion, not addressing scalability issues can have a significant business impact, right? So ensuring that you have an effective monitoring is essential, because you can detect, you can address, and you can mitigate these issues. You can ensure that your company can thrive in a dynamic and evolving business landscape, which has this constant demand on applications to perform and applications to not be down or not be slow or not cause an impact in your internal staff or your external customers, right? And when we recap all of this, these are just three kind of examples that we see come up a lot of time in terms of downtime, slowness, bottlenecks, scalability issues that are impacted because of database performance. But when I'm speaking to most organizations, right, and we speak to their IT team and they understand this, they know what it's doing to their environment. It also impacts the business, and it has a massive impact on C-level executives. So when you're going to a business and you want to speak to them about, hey, look, this product does X and this product does Y, they want to know, what is the financial impact? We see these three things, and you kind of heard me already touch upon them throughout. Impact of your KPIs. So database performance issues can directly affect KPIs such as revenue and customer retention, productivity, and so on, like I've mentioned. SLAs, again, failure to meet SLAs due to database performance issues can result on contractual penalties, fines, or legal disputes, depending on what those are. And then thirdly, staff turnover. I've been speaking to a couple of customers recently, and the one thing they were mentioning is we have lack of IT teams to manage this, and we were looking at the root cause of it, and a lot of it came due to staff being frustrated, right? They're asked to do more than what their job title is to do, or what the load that they're meant to carry. So it is very evident that database performance issues have a direct and significant consequence on businesses or C-level executives, and these challenges they do impact your financial performance, your contractual obligations, and your talent retention. So we do see a proactive database monitoring tool are critical for you to mitigate these challenges and ensure overall success of your organization. So we do have these conversations when it comes to the C-level or to the business as well. So the ability to safeguard your KPIs, avoid penalties, and retain valuable talent does depend on your commitment to a robust database management tool. So when we're looking at all of those typical challenges, right, that we see in a database environment, how can a performance monitoring tool help you? So, okay, cool, Visar, you've mentioned a couple of different things there, like bottlenecks, scalability issues, downtime, financial impact, or etc. How can a tool help me? What can it do? So here's a couple of different points here from real-time monitoring, performance analysis, data visualization and reporting, etc. So let me explore what a comprehensive database monitoring solution provides, right? And these features are essential for maintaining the health and performance of your database environment. So if we look at the first one, database monitoring offers real-time monitoring. This is really important, right? This means that you can continually track status of your database system, and you can ensure that you're always aware of what's happening at any given time. Performance analyst is another key aspect. With this, you can dive deep into the database performance metrics. You can identify bottlenecks, you can identify slow queries, or any issues affecting your system and making it inefficient, right? Data virtualization and reporting capabilities are critical for understanding your database overall health. A visual representation of the data and insightful reports make it easier for you to grasp typical trends or anomalies that are causing these impacts on your database. Capacity planning is a valuable feature. It allows you to forecast future resource needs based on your historical data, ensuring that you're prepared for growth without over-provisioning or encountering unexpected limitations. Machine learning and anomaly detection are cutting-edge functionalities. These are tools that can automatically identify any unusual behaviors within your database environment, helping you to detect potential issues before they become critical or before they impact your business or your users. Again, all about being proactive rather than reactive. Detailed alerting to keep you informed in real time. You can set up alerts for specific conditions or thresholds, ensuring that you're promptly notified when something requires your attention, right? Again, do you have that ability to be able to be notified and get an alert when something is wrong? Scalability, again, something I mentioned, it's a fundamental component, and a robust database solution should be able to grow with your organization, accommodating any expanding database environment seamlessly or any needs that you might have. And in summary, guys, database performance monitoring provides a really comprehensive set of tools and capabilities that actually empower you to manage your database system efficiently. These features enable you to maintain peak performance, proactive addressing of issues, and plan for future growth of your database infrastructure. So these are just some really, really key ones. And when we're looking at monitoring tools, it can be really tough to find one that ticks all of these boxes. And what we do see is there are very, very common shortfalls when you're looking at tools out there. So you can see a couple of points here in the lack of detail that some database performance tools have out there, or some include counter-based metrics such as CPU and I/O. Some of them capture snapshots every few minutes due to collection insufficiencies and so on. Here at SolarWinds, one of our tools, SQL Sentry, stands out for its ability to provide 10-second granularity with lower overhead compared to tools offering multiple-minute snapshots. So many DPM tools limit query level details to the top 2-3 queries, regardless of server activity. Some tools focus on query based on their own weights rather than considering the actual resource consumption, which is more efficient in identifying the actual root cause. Some tools have common shortfalls, when it comes to scalability. Again, SolarWinds distinguishes itself by supporting over 1,000 servers with a single database, with a single SQL Server database. And that's thanks to some of the advanced technology that we use. We provide multi-vendor products that allow you to monitor your full database estate in one solution. And this innovation, what it actually has done is it's allowed a really good return on investment, and has been recognized even by Microsoft in a case study that we have highlighting the use of in-memory OLTP technologies amongst other advancements. Another shortfall that we see out there from some of our competitors is lack of support. Again, lack of support can mean two things. It can mean the different types of databases a solution can monitor, and it could also mean the support you're actually getting from the vendor if something goes wrong. The beauty behind our solution and the one you'll see today is we offer a unified solution that will allow you to manage and monitor your full database environment in one platform. And that's for on-premise, cloud, or hybrid environments. That's for every single database from Oracle to SQL Server, Postgres, MariaDB, whatever you may have. And the really good benefit when it comes to the support aspect is you're supported throughout. As part of becoming a customer, there is no additional cost to support. You will get free 24/7 support. You'll also get access to the customer portal, which gives you the ability to have all the free trainings and enablement that you might need to utilize the tool better. So one thing I would ask you guys is ask yourself maybe a little bit about what you currently do or what you currently use. You know, is what you're doing contributing to more issues than it actually is solving? Does it provide enough detail and the right details to be able to truly help you quickly resolve these issues when you do see them? When something is not right, is it properly and promptly supported by live experienced engineers? So can you get support? Do you have to outsource that support? You know, is it too late when you find out and you're being more reactive? Can it scale with your database estate and the expected growth you have? So I'd ask some of these questions, right? And then to kind of conclude what I've been saying, just to give you some visual before we go into the technical demo. This is what we offer. This is the SolarWinds database performance portfolio. We have DPA and SQL Sentry, and the database observability in the middle is essentially the SaaS offering, right, for the likes of MongoDB and kind of NoSQL environments. But the predominant ones that we see used are DPA and SQL Sentry. And from our licensing perspective, when a customer purchases a subscription license, they get both DPA and SQL Sentry. Now, what's DPA and what's SQL Sentry? We're going to show you a demo of DPA in a minute. It's the most one that's predominantly used. And what DPA does, guys, is it gives you a unified solution to allow you to manage your full database environment. So that's every single database that you might have, be it on-premise, be it cloud, be it subscription or perpetual. It has machine learning with anomaly detection. It's weight-based analysis with tuning advisories, and so on. And SQL Sentry, on the other hand, is designed for a Microsoft data estate only. So this is only for a SQL Server environment. And again, you can see down the bottom, SQL Sentry focuses on the underlying infrastructure, whereas DPA is weight states. The big difference here, again, like I said, is DPA will allow you to manage and monitor all of your databases in one unified solution, whereas SQL Sentry is for SQL Server only. But again, the beauty behind our licensing is you will get both of these solutions in the subscription model, which means you can use them both at the same time. So if you've got 10 instances, and they're a mixture of SQL Server, Oracle, Postgres, you can use all those 10 on both tools. And for your SQL environment, if you want that more in-depth underlying health of your database environment, you could focus more on SQL Sentry. Here you can see what it supports. So you can see DPA, the unified approach of managing and monitoring all database environments versus what SQL Sentry does or what database observability does. So you can kind of get an idea here of what they support. And again, very, very easy to find this out, but we would always lead with DPA, and DPA is the one that we're going to show you today. And when it comes to the last kind of bit of what we're looking to show you here and what we're eliminating by actually having a database performance solution, right, is allowing you to have a platform where you can find the root cause of problems. Because again, every day when we speak to customers, these 4 things that I've highlighted here are typically some of the biggest pain points that we see come up. They say, look, finding the root cause of what happened, what caused that downtime, what caused that slowness, why do I have a bottleneck, why is it impacting X, Y, and Z? We don't know, and it takes a long time to find what happens. And we'll show you how our tools helps with this. Troubleshooting, really, really time consuming and very frustrating. So anybody on this call from a technical aspect, you'll know how much of a pain point this is. Keeping your database systems running smoothly is a constant headache. You're constantly having to do things here to make sure they are. And that comes with a lot of shortfallings. And again, our product is designed to help you with this and give you different query tuning advisories to ensure that you're having a platform where you can do this more efficiently. SQL query tuning can also be very, very tedious. So when we look at what we offer in the next half of this webinar, is we're giving you a solution, and we call it a MDO, so monitor, diagnose, and optimize approach. And you can essentially evolve from reactive database firefighting mode to proactive management of your database systems. So again, within the SolarWinds solution, it helps you save time, eliminate many management headaches of DBAs that you guys typically face every day. And again, the kind of finger blaming of the networking guy saying it's the database guy saying it's the networking guy, and so on. But at the peak of that, it's impacting your business, it's impacting your employees from doing their job efficiently, or your customers being able to access the applications they need to do what they need to do. So in conclusion, guys, we provide a platform where you can monitor, diagnose, and optimize the performance of your database. So we give you a solution or a platform where you can get that visibility. You can get those reports. You can get the general performance information that you need. You can get alerts. You can get your top queries. You can get all these nitty-gritty specific performance challenges that you might have. So again, you have somewhere where you can find, where you can solve, and where you can get a better optimization or enhancement of your database environment instead of kind of doing the usual DIY stuff. But that's it in conclusion from what is database performance monitoring, what are the typical challenges that we see, what are the typical impacts they have on a business, both technology aspect and financial implications to the C-levels, and what is the product that we provide to help with this. So that's it from my end. We're going to move over to Richard now to actually give you a technical demo of the solution of DPA and dive into some of those common challenges that I've just mentioned. But if you guys have any questions or something came to mind, feel free to have a question or put something in the chat. We will be putting a poll in the chat as well. If you want to participate, that would be awesome. But other than that, I'll pass it over to Richard, but I'll give you guys a minute if you have any questions or comments.
All right, thank you so much, Visar. Please, if you have questions, we'll be taking about 2 to 3 questions now, and we also have a poll running currently in the chat. So please, if you have any question, you can use the raise hand feature, and you can also drop the question in the chat as well. Do we have any questions, anybody? Okay, so Visar, we have one question currently in the chat. I will reach out to you shortly, Mr. Bernard. This question is from Abraham. He said, I would like to ask how this tool differs from DAM tools.
I can see that there now. Yeah. Well, the thing I would say, guys, is we do see a lot of questions come up with this, where people say, "Hey, I'm already using a DAM tool. Why is this better? Or what does this do?" First thing is they would typically complement each other very, very well, versus than being competitive. Because when you look at it, lads, a DAM tool is essentially going to give you the surface level health of your applications. So what's kind of happening there? Whereas a database performance monitoring tool can actually tell you what happened, how it happened, what caused it, how you fix it, how you better optimize it. So they complement each other very well. But from my perspective, if you had to choose between one or the other, we would always lead with the DPA performance monitoring tool. And again, the main difference here is one is surface level health of your application, is just telling you, yeah, that's good, yeah, that's bad. But how are you going to find out why, what caused it? What caused that? What impacted that query? Why do you have a bottleneck? Which database did that? Which database user did that? What action did that? Can you be notified, alerted? Can you report on that? Can you fix on that? Can you get query tuning advisories to show you how or where? Do you know what the root cause of that was? That's the main key difference between a DAM solution and a database performance tool. I can see there's a few other questions in the chat. Do you want to go ahead with those as well?
There one on what are the key metrics I'm focusing on when monitoring database performance and how SolarWinds can help with that. We can go through that on the actual live demo as well that I have.
Super. Thank you, Rich.
No problem.
Non-rational databases like MongoDB, does this also apply? Yeah, it does. That would be our SolarWinds Observability, which is our SaaS offering for NoSQL DBs such as MongoDB. Okay, I'll pass it over to Richard now. I can see that we have 20 minutes left, so we want to allow a little bit of time for the actual technical demo, which is where you're going to get the real value. So over to you, Richard, to go into that, please.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to check the poll really quickly so I know which database to focus on.
Oracle, SQL Server and Oracle.
Yeah. So like Visar mentioned, DPA is multi-vendor. We support Oracle, SQL Server, Postgres, MariaDB, MySQL. And looking at the poll, looks like SQL Server is the most popular one there today. So I'll focus on that. So if I share my screen and you gents let me know when you can see it. Can you see my screen there now, Visar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so this is DPA that we were mentioning. Now, one quick thing again to mention about DPA, it's an agentless architecture, okay? So with that agentless architecture, it's incredibly fast and lightweight. The overhead on your targets with DPA is less than 1%, okay? So incredibly fast and lightweight from that perspective. And essentially what it's doing is it's monitoring query activity in your database by collecting information on every active user session. So it does this every second, working around the clock. And as those queries run and their wait states change during execution, DPA measures and records the weights that those queries are spending most of the time on. Now, this is customer facing, and we'll follow up with the link so you guys can play around with this demo site after the call. But as you see, it's a Java application. We can see the instances with the highest wait time in days and what's trending up and trending down from a weights perspective. I have this one pane of glass that I can see any issues across my multiple different environments within my tool. And on the right here, I can actually see all the instances within my environment. Now, again, I can toggle these into groups. I've broken out my groups just based on database technology, but of course you guys can completely customize this and do site, location, prod versus dev, totally up to you. Again, based on the poll, we'll focus on Microsoft SQL Server. So here you can see all my individual instances. You can see my quick action functionality that allows me to jump around within the tool to investigate any issues with 1 to 2 clicks. And we can see my weight bars down the middle. Now, the more green bars I have here, the more active it is, or noisy as well. The one with the most bars has the most cumulative weights. The one with the least bars has the least amount of weights. And this green color here is just an indication of anomaly detection. So do we have any critical anomalies detected within the last hour? And that's based off our machine learning anomaly algorithm detection. Now, again, I'll go into that in a little bit more detail as we go through the tool. But again, we can quickly see, do I have any tuning advisors, any CPU issues, memory, disk, sessions, alerts, and we can also see the VMs that these guys are sitting on. Again, I can use these quick status summary as a filter to bubble up any issues within my environment. Again, that one pane of glass where I can see everything. If I click on my instance name, it will dive into the instance for me, where I can now start to see all the top SQL statements on that instance. Each of these bars here represents a single query. So by hovering over, it's going to show me the information on the SQL, how many times it was executed, average execution time, and what percentage of weights was this query on that particular day. Now, again, we can see these have SQL hash. So maybe this blue guy, 519, I can match that to the top right to see 519. We can also give it friendly names like I have done here. But what we're seeing is the top 15 most impactful queries across my environment. Now, of course, we can modify that. We can change it. We can add more. Or if I want to see any queries outside my top 15, I can come in and do a quick find SQL. Here I can easily filter. Maybe I want to filter by user, program, database, machine, or maybe that keyword search lookup. Maybe if I do a quick example. Hit search. Now I'm looking in the last 24 hours. Of course, I can adjust my time range. I can now see any of those queries with the word select, the query hash, and I can do a quick glance to see, okay, well, what was the wait time statistics, the supporting data, right? So what were the databases, users, machines, and the programs associated with that query, wait time, executions, last seen, and of course, the SQL text. By diving in anywhere where we see the SQL hash allows me to go into the query detail of that particular query as well from here as well. Again, I'll show you that, guys, as we go through the tool. But from the top here on the left, we have my trends view, where I can now start to see the top weights across my environment. So at a glance, we can see a lot of green here indicating memory CPU. Okay. Now, what's quite nice about DPA, and I take full advantage of, is because it's multi-vendor, maybe I'm an Oracle guy looking at SQL Server, or a SQL Server guy looking at Oracle, or any other database technology supported by DPA. I can come in and say, well, okay, I see a bit of CX packet weight. Maybe I'm not that familiar as an Oracle DBA. Well, I can come in, click it, understand the description, see the resolve by, see the solutions, and now start to implement those solutions to reduce that wait time to improve the performance of my environment. So quite easily levels me up as well. Additional research if I want to dive deeper as well. We can see a lot of memory CPU here. Memory CPU, description, resolve by, solutions to start resolving that wait time. I can see the top programs, top databases, machines, users, files, drives, as well as the plans as well. Now, if I come back to my SQL chart, scroll down, we can now see this bottom chart called anomaly detection. So that's the machine learning algorithm built into SQL Sentry to let me know if there's any anomalies detected. So a good example might be, let's say, January 17th to the 18th, or even the 19th, right? I have a decrease in weights So I'm probably looking at that thinking, okay, that's great, right? Less waste than the previous day. That's awesome. But because we take into account the seasonality of that data based on previous trends, we can see if that's actually in spec or not. Okay. So we can actually see that that's still red, critical, out of range from my environment, yellow, warning, somewhat out of range, and green, normal, perfectly fine and well within range from my environment. Another example might be January 26th to the 27th. So again, maybe, I don't know, let's pretend it's a payroll software. At the end of the month, I'm processing, there's an expected load on that database. We can see based on the anomaly detection, that's perfectly fine, normal, and well within range from my environment. Again, what happens on a Wednesday is different to what happens on a Tuesday. So we're taking that into consideration. There is an informational button again, and you'll see these throughout DPA, giving you hints, tips, and tricks and guides on how to best utilize the features and functions within DPA to enhance the performance of your environment. If I scroll down, the tool also will give me advice, right? So what are the advisors DPA showing me? We can actually see on January 29th, I had a critical here. It looks like this query accounted for 24% of instance execution time. My plan indicating a full table scan, right? Read more. I can now dive into the detail of it to see my query advisor and what it recommended me. So it looks like, again, that full table index scan, again, description, solution. I can actually see the plan, and I can see it spent a significant amount of time in this particular wait activity. So again, memory, CPU within this time range. If I jump back, we can also see from a resource perspective, line up my weights with my resources from CPU, OS, page life expectancy. Again, any of those informational guides give me a quick description and solution for any spikes or performance issues correlated to my resource charts. We can also add additional charts. Maybe on SQL Server, I want to see a bit of tempDB in there, right? So again, what's important to you, we can add those charts. The full SQL text and the query hash of the queries up above. And of course, any blocking that we're seeing. So actually maybe January 24th, we had a bit of a block, a couple of blocks. We had a bit of anomaly detection and maybe the highest amount of wait time. So that would indicate maybe there's something there worth me diving into from a performance perspective. From deadlocks, now it does require extended events to be enabled. And because I have it on a different instance, this guy here, deadlocks. So we can see my deadlock list, my deadlock chart, those trends, right? And we can also include that strategy to help you resolve those deadlocks. But by clicking on the timestamp, it will give me my full deadlock details, my deadlock summary, my victim on SPID84, my SQL text, survivor, SPID86, SQL text, and all the additional information that we would expect to come with that. My full deadlock resources, lock 1 on lock 2, the object lock, again, description, lock granularity, and we can see X for exclusive and IX for intent exclusive here on SPID86. Download, export, or send us an email to your developer to resolve those deadlocks. One thing to note while we're in here, this is currently my availability group. So we do give AG status on the availability groups within SQL Server and the racks for Oracle. Okay, so coming back, bit of blocking, we can see maybe, but I want to dive in to say, okay, well, when within that day did I experience blocking? Okay, so by clicking on January 24th, I now dive even deeper to see all the information broken out per hour. Okay, so I can see, okay, well, I had a lot of blocking. When within, or what time period within that day did I have it? So maybe 2 p.m., my highest amount of anomaly detection. And again, highest amount of wait type. I would say it is this query here, but let's dive in and let's again double check that. So by clicking 2 p.m., again, I'm now going even deeper to see the top SQL statements on that instance within that date range, within that hour, to see which had the largest impact. Again, I can see my blocking anomaly here. I can hover over, again, confirming my suspicion. It's that SQL text showing me that truncate table, blocking anomaly, and again, we can see what he spent his time waiting on. Again, this goes into really good detail to resolving that particular wait type. And maybe a little bit of memory CPU. But of course, I can now start to go through my trends tabs within that hour range as well. To see, okay, what was my top database, my top wait, my top programs, users, machines, sessions, drives. And of course, because we had blockers, we now see the additional tab called blockers from here, where I can expand it, see my waiter, blocker, SPID, blocking time caused and waited, user, program, machine, and the SQL statement executed by that blocking session. Okay, so that's the trends view, the find SQL. Now again, something quite powerful within DPA is the tuning tab. Now within the tuning tab, we're going to have three different aspects here. So we have the index advisors, query advisors, and the table advisors. So from an index perspective, we can see, let me see this top guy, actually probably a good one. So we can see we've got about 2 hours and 39 minutes of wait. By implementing this index recommendation, I'm going to get a 2 hours and 38 minutes savings. So 100% return from implementing this index recommendation. All I would need to do is copy the clipboard. I now have it copied, apply it, test it, make sure it's going to give me the desired outcome. And then of course I can apply it to production. We can also see the query origins, right? So I can see I've got maybe an extra additional 6 seconds savings, so 14% on this query as well. We can jump back, we can look historically, but I can also now go into my query advisors that we were briefly touched on earlier to see my query advisor. Do I have any table tuning recommendations? And we can also see, okay, well, do I have any correlation happening? So if I look at my top weights with maybe my statistics charts and I run my mouse along the top here, I can start to see that correlation to see, okay, well, did an increase in wait time? Did that come from an increase in average execution time? Or did it come from an increase in total executions? So we really want to see what are the factors taking up that total wait time. Again, we can always add rows process, physical reads, logical reads and writes as well. Again, my blocking, my plans, if multiple plans were detected, we'd see that from here as well. And those individual instance resource metrics where I can add those additional charts. Again, quickly, I want to see what my full SQL text of the query I'm analyzing, and I want to see the supporting data. So I want to see my databases, users, files, machines, and the programs associated. Now, if I jump back, we have my table advisors. If I pick maybe one here. So again, the table advisor is quite powerful from a database performance perspective because it allows me to encapsulate the query advisor from the information from the related queries using the same tables. So a lot of information on one screen here, but on the left, we can see the different queries we're analyzing. I can see the relative workload of these queries. So of course, from a performance perspective, I'll tackle my 48.7 versus maybe my 0.2, right? I can see my wait time, execution, reads per execution, which looks quite high versus what we're returning, right? So I can see, okay, well, maybe do I have any inefficiencies within my plan? I can open my plan here, go through the steps, hover over. Again, I can download, export, but I can also see that index recommendation from this perspective, but I can see, okay, I've got some inefficiency or inefficient table index access steps that DPA has discovered. So maybe step 32, that table scan, maybe change the scan to a seek, right? Update or adjust an existing index, add a where clause. So again, we're going to give you some of those solutions to improve that step to, again, enhance performance. Again, it looks like I have a predicate and some warnings here of parallelism, spool, and that predicate of no index here as well. My current table information, right? So my existing indexes, do I have any fragmentation of these guys? But what's also quite powerful, within 1 to 2 clicks, I can see if I'm meeting all the best table tuning practices. So straight away, I can see, do I have a foreign key that's not indexed? Do I have any overlapping indexes? Wide indexes? Does that table have a primary key or not? And does that table have at least one index? So we can see straight away, we're missing a couple of these. I can see this is where my overlapping index is found. This is my wide. This table has no defined primary key, and this is where that foreign key is not indexed. So again, some really easy wins while using DPA to improve performance. And quickly, just because I want to give a few minutes to a Q&A at the end as well, just note we do have a resources tab where we can add custom metrics as well. That requires you just come up with that custom SQL statement to pull back those metrics, and also from an alerting perspective, where we can manage alerts, we can build out any wait time, resource, administrative alerts that are done on database technology, And of course, if there's a particular alert you're looking for, but you don't see it out of the box, you can quite easily create your own custom alert. Okay. So it will look something very similar to this, where I have my type, description, alert name, whether or not it's active. The execution interval is just how often are we going to go out and check that value. Assign the instance you want to evaluate against. Your custom SQL statement. So in this scenario, it's just a numeric. You can do a numeric or a Boolean. Execute it against a monitor database or a repository database, and then set up my alert, custom alert level and notification. Hit OK. I've now created that custom alert within DPA. And of course, reporting as well. So again, we're coming close to the hour there. I'm just going to pause. I'm actually going to copy this and send it in the chat box so you guys can have access to this demo site. Play around. Again, maybe some of you guys have some Oracle, Postgres, or you just want to see some other features and functionality of the tool. But I'll stop sharing now and just double check. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you very much, Richard. Visar, you want to say something?
No, I was just going to second what Richard said. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Was that clear?
Okay, so please, if you have questions, and you can drop your questions in the chat, and you can also use the raise hand feature.
And if a question comes to you at any stage after the call, again, feel free to drop an email and we can always address it, because you might have an individual question based on your environment that we can always address. And I'm just going to put the demo site in there as well for you guys.
There's a question in the Rich. For patch on SQL Server, can SolarWinds detect if a patching is required?
Not from DPA, but I believe we do have a separate tool called Patch Manager.
Yeah. Correct. This is more for database performance monitoring, but for patching, yeah, it would be a different solution.
Okay, so what about the previous questions? Visar, the ones that
let me just have a look. So we have, what do we have here? The rational one we answered with observability. We have one here, Richard. I would like to ask how this tool can be used in qualitative research.
In qualitative research, do you mean like questionnaires, focus groups, like collection of user data, is it? Or maybe you could expand on the requirements in qualitative research that you... Maybe a little bit more expansion on that particular question. But if the solution you're using to collect that research data is stored in a database somewhere and it has some performance issues, or it's critical data that you want to maintain, then of course DPA will maintain the health of your environment.
Okay. All right.
I'd have to know a little bit more about that industry.
All right, so we still have a number of people on the call. Please, if you have questions as regards the presentation that was done by Visar and Richard, please, you can use the raise hand feature. I have enabled mic for everybody, so it's easy for you to speak now. And also, you can also make use of the chat so that we can get a question from there. Okay, so Ephraim is saying he did not get the response to.
We were saying for patching, there's a separate tool called Patch Management. We've just put a link inside there. That is a patching tool. So this tool that you saw today is for database performance monitoring, not related to patching. But we do have a tool within the SolarWinds stack. There's a link in there. You can see it. That was just posted a while ago by Abby. What best practices do you recommend for integrating SolarWinds database monitoring with other IT management tools? So just on one there, Benjamin, because you said two things. The key metrics was something that Richard was showing on the demo. I don't know if you want to add anything more to that, Rich. The question which was what key metrics to focus on when monitoring database performance and how can SolarWinds help?
So this is the what best practices do you recommend for integrating SolarWinds, is it?
No, the metric
sorry.
one. What key metrics to focus on when monitoring database performance and how can SolarWinds
Gotcha.
optimize them?
Yeah. Well, look, it depends on the issue, right? There's multiple different metrics, different bottlenecks, different right? And that's why the tool gives you the whole view, that massive insight. Is it one big running query? Is it a fast running query that runs multiple times? Is it a block, a deadlock? Like, we can correlate and see that all from SQL or from DPA, well, and SQL Sentry. And we can use the anomaly detection to detect anomaly to find out what the correlation is. So maybe go into the weight states to see what are the top weights in the environment, correlate that back, as you've seen in the demonstration, to see, okay, well, is it correlated to CPU? Or is it memory? Or is it a CX packet weight, right? Parallelism. So again, it's not one metric to focus on, but it could be looking at what's causing it and what's it consuming that's causing it to perform slowly.
Thanks, Rich. One more here. For long-running queries, is there a feature that shows the user that is running the long running query?
So we have the alert that will detect as a long-running query. Once you go into the query, then from the query analysis, you will be able to see the user associated with that particular query within the supporting data. So we can see, we'll see the database that query was running on. We'll see the database user. Now, if it's like a back end of an application, you might see something like an SA account, or if it was an ad hoc query, you will see that user. So it all depends on how you're set up, but we should be able to identify it for sure, and set an alert to notify you if you do have a long running query as well.
Okay. All right, let's see if we have, okay, I think we have. So Benjamin, can you respond to what Visar said? He's asking, how do you mean?
Yeah, you have a question here saying, what best practices do you recommend for integrating SolarWinds database monitoring with other IT management tools? So I'm not 100% sure what you mean there. Again, database or DPA will be a separate deployment and a separate UI, but I don't know if there's something there we can add, Rich.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would integrate into our other SolarWinds IT infrastructure monitoring tools. Again, the network, the server and application, right? Now, if it comes to a third-party vendor, you can use traps within DPA to get integration maybe into third-party ticketing systems. It all depends on that third-party application and what they're able to do. If they can convert a trap into a notification, but DPA does integrate into the other IT monitoring tools within the SolarWinds environment. So if you're an existing SolarWinds customer, DPA would be awesome.
Thanks, Rich. One more here for you, Rich, regarding DPA. So it says does also give you the lowest level of time granularity. For example, filtering for what's currently happening, or say within the last 5 minutes, rather than focus on everything that's happening in the hour.
Yep. Now, we didn't get time to touch on it, but there's a tab within DPA called the current tab. And this will show you all the queries causing the most user wait time in the last hour. So any of those highest total executions, it will show you the long running on an average. So the queries with the highest average execution in the last hour, and the most running, or sorry, the queries with the most executions in the last hour. So you can really see and narrow into what's currently happening to see if something's increased, if end users are currently performing or experiencing performance issues. And you can then see currently active sessions and currently blocked sessions live as well. So there is a tab within the tool called the current tab that will show you everything like that.
Regarding a SIM solution, or how does SIM integration that isn't the SolarWinds product? Again, we don't integrate with a SIM solution essentially, or with another outside product. It will be a separate console, a separate deployment. I'm sure you probably have some information showing on your SIM that might allow you to dive deeper in via DPA, but there will be no, there's no out-of-the-box integration, no.
Okay, so I believe that we've been able to answer the question that we have from Mr. Abraham, right? Visar?
Correct.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. So we actually have somebody on the call who has been using DPA, and I don't know if he would just like to share his experience using it. Samuel, are you on the call?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Samuel. Just in 2 minutes, can you just give your feedback regarding your usage of DPA in your organization?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Visar and Richard, for the session. It's been amazing. So yeah, in my organization, we've been using DPA for quite a number of months, and I can say that it's been nothing short of amazing. So like I mentioned in the chat, I love the level of detail that it gives. A lot of times I tend to just be on the DPA most of the times, right, before I can go on to SQL Server because we mostly monitor our SQL servers, right, or our SQL databases. So I tend to spend more time on the DPA, right, get insights. I love how we also get to configure alerts, right? So we get real-time alerts on whenever there's an issue, right, based on whatever we've configured, right? So it makes a lot of sense. And like I mentioned, I tend to spend quite a lot of time on the DPA, looking through all the different features. And like I mentioned, there's a whole lot of level of detail. So prior to using DPA, we've worked with quite a number of database observation tools, and I think DPA gives even more level of details compared to what we've used in time past, right? So it's something that I'm definitely going to recommend for anyone wanting to use that. But then I think I also put in the chat, right, the aspects of the last 5 minutes or within the last 1 minute or seconds, right? The current time, I wanted to find a few occasions I want to like drill down into seeing what's happening within the last 5 minutes or what's happening currently. But most of I tend to see what's happening within the hour, hence why I had to put that in the chat. But other than that, everything that DPA gives is absolutely amazing. One of the things that was touched during the demo was the aspect of index optimization, and that's something that I have utilized quite a number of times, and it has helped in optimizing those databases, right? Ensure that the query is actually running better. I've seen quite a number of better results when using the indexes that are recommended or generated from DPA. So it's absolutely fantastic.
Great to hear. Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you so much for that, Samuel. Thank you for that. So just like we've heard, it's a tool that we've had different customers using, within their organizations, and it's really, really been helping them, with managing their databases. And just as we've seen the presentation from Richard and Visar, it's absolutely amazing. And I believe that this is something that would, turn the tide of work and productivity within different organizations. So, and thank you once again, Visar and Richard, for the presentation. I think we've been able to attend to all the questions that we have on the chat. I don't know if network administrator has any other question from there. So lastly, there is something that we promised, during before we started this webinar. And that's for weeks now. If you've been seeing our post on our social media platforms, we promised that we are going to be giving out vouchers to different people on this call. And today we have a number of people that have, engaged in the conversation today. And we are going to be doing a sort of spin the wheel to know the 2 different people that are going to be walking away with vouchers on this call today. All right, so I'll just go ahead to share my screen so that you all can see from your hand. All right, please confirm that you can see my screen from your hand.
Yep.
Okay, so we have Temidaya, we have Udochukwu, we have Benjamin, we have Boluwatife, Ephraim, we have Mukaram, we have Samuel, and we have Network Administrator Xylus. I'm going to have to get your real name, but I just have to pick, the names that we have in the chat to put on this pin. So we have about 8 different names here, and we're going to be spinning the wheel together to know the 2 lucky winners that are going to be walking away with vouchers this afternoon. We have 4 vouchers. 2 are going to be given to the best, to the 2 winners from this spin the wheel, and the other 2 are going to be going to, people that we are able to further conversations with, and we're able to get POCs, agreement and all that done with. So let's go, everybody. All right. Wow, that was close. Okay, so the first person is Udochukwu Abraham. Congratulations. You are going to be getting one of our vouchers for today. All right, so let's go ahead to get the second person while we remove Udochukwu Abraham. All right, everybody, this is the last one, and let's see who the second winner for today is going to be. Wow, okay. This is beautiful. So we have Ephraim as well, who is our second winner for today, Ephraim Ojiako. Congratulations, Mr. Ephraim. Congratulations to you as well, Udochukwu, on winning the vouchers for today. So we have $50 voucher for each of you. And after the call, we are going to be reaching out to you to, get to get how we can get them across to you as well. And for the remaining 2 vouchers, once we further conversations, with everybody, we'll be able to know which organizations are going to be getting the remaining 2 vouchers. And please also check the charts, right? Check the charts. I dropped a link in the chat. I'm going to reshare the link again so that you all can fill the form. So we would like to get your feedback regarding the webinar. We would like to, get your feedback. Through this feedback, we're going to be able to know. We're going to be able to know who needs what, and we'll also know how we can, further the conversation with every other person that we have, on this call. So I know we have a lot of people on this call, but we want to push the conversation forward. We want to ensure that we are part of your success story for 2025, and we want to be sure that SolarWinds DPA is part of, what's going to lead to your, work productivity and efficiency this year. So please go ahead and fill the form, put in your details and every other question that has been asked. It's just a few questions, answer the questions, and through that, we'll be able to reach out to you and get to know what you need. All right. We're going to be, if you need us to have another demo with your organization, please, you can just reply to the emails that we've sent to you. You can also fill the form to let us know that, okay, we're going to be needing a demo session, probably for your procurement or your, management team in your organization, and through that, we'll be able to arrange for you specially. How do we get the remaining vouchers? Yes, like I mentioned, when the conversation goes forward with different organizations and we are able to sign a POC with you, then we'll be able to select who and who is going to get the remaining vouchers. But it's based on furthering the conversation from here. So let's see how we can work together. All right. There is no other question. There is no other thing for today. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance. Thank you for this. Olumuyiwa, for the trainings and certifications, I will definitely get back to you. I'll forward your request to our training team, and they'll be able to, give you a breakdown of the certifications and training that are required for IT teams to maximize SolarWinds capability. I will definitely work on that and get across to you regarding that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being on the call. Thank you, Visar, for the beautiful presentation. That was amazing. And we are also looking forward to another session before the end of the year. Thank you also to Richard for the demo session. It was really, really good as well. I don't know if there's anything you want to say, Visar, just to end the session.
No, just same again. Thank you to everybody who attended. Thank you for all the efforts as well from Ha-Shem and everybody involved there, guys. Awesome attendance, awesome webinar. And please feel free to utilize some of the links in the chat to get a free trial, to check out the free demo site, or have any questions that you guys want more attention to. We'd be happy to schedule a one-on-one session to help you have a look at your database environment and what we can do for you. But otherwise, please feel free to reach out to the team at Ha-Shem, fill in that questionnaire he's put in there, and we'll be with you if you need anything else. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. All right, Toby, anything from your hand, Toby?
Thanks, Sean. It was a great webinar, and thanks to everyone that attended. We'll keep you posted with the 2 vouchers that are left, and thanks, Sean, for hosting marvelously. And thanks, Richard, for the awesome demo too. It was a wonderful session, and thanks for the questions. I just keep saying thanks and thanks, but thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you to me for that. Richard?
Yeah, no, it was great. Actually, really enjoyed it. And congratulations to our winners. So, it was really, really, really good. Thank you. Appreciate the hosts for having us and the guests for attending.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. This is the part where I say thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful afternoon. And we're looking forward to getting all your emails. Thank you, everybody. And I'll be signing out here. Bye.